Welcome to the ninth official podcast of Quantapalooza. I am Justin Locke, Dr. J, and today we build the muscle in past podcasts to talk about how to leverage emerging technologies, specifically AI, but we're not restricting it, to directly advance your 2026 career journey. Now, first off, there are a lot of approaches when we talk about positive thinking and research and visualization. There are like religious elements to it. There are psychological elements to it, and all those are important. That's outside the scope of Quantapalooza because we have team members, amazing researchers, and audiences like yourself from the world over, every continent, including, I am told, seasonally and Antarctica, which is definitely on my bucket list. And so we're an open tent in Quantapalooza. So we're going to be having a more of a scientific view, but definitely there are similar themes to approaching how to improve yourself. And it is irrefutable when you look at neurology, the way that brains evolve and learn and grow and focus, that the more that you give your neurons the experiences, they can really adapt your thinking in a positive way. And I'll leave it at that in terms of the religious and the spiritual and the human side of it. But neurology is the connective tissue. And when we look at emerging technologies, and if you remember in past Quantapalooza podcast, we talk about one end of the spectrum, one end of the bookshelf, pick your metaphor, is artificial intelligence. The other end is quantum computing, the new paradigm of hardware that's already here, but will be the global use standard by the end of this decade. And then the connective tissue in the middle is robotics and edge hardware. Now, today, we're going to focus a little bit more as to what would be expressed in AI because that's the most easily accessible to all of you. But definitely, the research and the layers and how it's realized has a quantum computing touch to it and a robotics touch to it. But let's really focus on how to leverage artificial intelligence and the learnings of AI to advance your career this year. A lot of AI now, as it's beginning to become more mature, not like those old archaic days of 2 quarters ago when dinosaurs roamed the earth last summer, the AIs are starting to really mimic much better complex thinking. And now this is what today's podcast focuses on, which is how to have your career goals be really pressure tested and ongoing, supported by AI as if you're already there. And again, this is where we go back to where there's some religions have an approach to this and some psychologies and all those flavors are fine, but I'm talking very scientific. So when I say horizontally and vertically for this podcast, what we mean is if it is vertical, it's how to rise up in your career. And that could mean a promotion, that could mean a larger team, that could mean more autonomy, more money, all the above, but it's how to raise in your career. So, for example, if I were to say a vertical raise in your career, maybe right now you are a new member to the industry and you would like to be a senior director in 4 years. So that would be a vertical approach to using AI. Horizontal might be leveraging your superpowers, but in a different field. So let's say you're running a small bakery in Central Africa and you love it and you will always keep it there, but it doesn't perhaps get you the amount of income or growth that you want. So you want to have the bakery going on the weekends and evenings, right? But you want to take that job to academia or healthcare or science or helping out your community. That would be a horizontal way. Now let's talk about how to unlock AI today. And I try to be as brand agnostic as possible. And this is a very important part of Quantapalooza. We have some great partnerships with some major quote unquote labels in quantum computing and AI and robotics, but our thing is bring it to the people, right? We don't want to create brands, despite the fact that I'm sure that my brands right now, I can feel the laser beams shooting through this podcast, burning through me. But hey, this is who I am and I stand by it. So let's look first at a vertical approach of using AI. So let's say you want to have a promotion multiple steps ahead of you. And with that, more wealth, more teams. And in fact, you want to even know what does that mean. So let's take an example of you're a important individual contributor and you want to be a senior director who manages directors in 3 years. This is where you are both feeding the AI instance that you feel most secure and safe with about your personal skills, your resumes, your blind spots, right? You're talking about where you can, like legally allowed to talk about your company, your industry, right? You're giving AI as much honest, unfiltered feedback about your career, your strengths, your weaknesses, where you want to grow, how much time you have to give to this, and where you want to be. And you're also asking the AI to really do some research as to what would it look like to be, in this case, a senior director in this company and or this industry. Right? Now you will get a set of like responses to your prompts. But what we're saying in Quantapalooza is don't treat this as one and done. Don't just do this on a Monday and be like, hey, this is very thoughtful. That's very important, of course. But you should actually every day budget 15 to 20 minutes, if not more, and every day continue the journey, continue to feed different scenarios, and actually role play, for lack of a better word, in this case, that you're the senior director, and have the AI come back to you with budgeting decisions, with hiring and firing decisions, with how to allocate budgets. And what you will find is that not only are you building real world muscle, one, two, you are neurologically growing with this. So you're not just dreaming about it happening. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not making any indictment. I'm just saying that my podcasts are here to help unlock people today, tomorrow, next year in the field of emerging technology. So you're using technology to actually now not just role play, but you can apply those learnings to your day job and to where you want to go and to how you interview and to how you connect with folks and to when you're going to conferences or when you're just taking a Zoom class. It's no longer this abstract thing. You are a senior director in that company. You may not, your badge may not say that yet. Your title on your uh, emails may not say that. Your paycheck may not say that, but you are because you are actually in the real, in the now living that. So that is the vertical approach to leveraging AI. And it should be just treat it, for lack of a better word, like a daily meeting, a daily workshop. Now, horizontal might be maybe you're doing something that you really, really love, but there are also additional asks of you. Maybe you have loved ones who need you to make more money. Maybe you're on the road all the time and you want to be home with loved ones. Maybe you're the expert in your field, but your field might have the same 15 experts and you want to grow. Whatever your motivation is, there is a multitude of them. So the horizontal approach is the same thing, right? You get on the board with your AI of choice and you say, let's use the example of, let's just say I have a small bakery in Central Africa. It's very successful, but I also want to be an adjunct professor at our university, right? But I want to apply the same skills, business acumen, budgeting, sales, supply chain understanding, marketing, filing my taxes, strategic growth and road mapping. You will get that prompt, the answers to your prompt from the AI that will start to say, okay, as an adjunct professor, you can both teach these classes, but here's how you can also grow the department, how you can help the department head be successful, right? So you get different flavors. And again, the same thing, book that 15, 20, 30 minutes at least, more if you can, and do that every day, including, yes, on weekends and holidays, because you're worth it. And the same strengths, albeit in a different way, because this is now a horizontal way of growing, you will now be living it in the now. So it's not abstract anymore. It's not hoping and wishing. You are a also an adjunct professor. Again, you may not have the college um, uh, passwords to the login system yet. You may not have the second salary, but you are actively living in the now. And you will find the same thing that you will be both not only growing in your bakery business in this example, but as you're interviewing, as you're asking questions, as you're having the confidence when you're interviewing other universities for the opportunity to be an adjunct professor in this case, right? You have the confidence to really share what you're learning. And what you will find is at the end of a calendar week, so 7 days into this, you'll be amazed how much you've grown. week 2, week 3, right? Week 52 at the end of the year. And it doesn't mean you have to wait a year, but when you even begin to get further closer to realizing your career goals, keep evolving and keep doing this and keep raising the bar. Even if raising the bar is how do you stay ahead of the curve on industry changes, right? In this example, what you're seeing is it's not just that AI is giving you thoughtful, hopefully with minimal hallucination answers to your prompts. It actually is a colleague. It's your digital colleague in a way that you can. It's okay in the AI scenario. If you blow through your budget, you're not going to lose your job. You may not always be able to say that if you're at the company. So you can even be bold, much more bold in this digital simulation. And again, it's real, not just because the neurons in your brain are processing it, but you're making those decisions. The last part of this podcast to land this, because we always put a human touch to the technological journeys, especially with how fast emerging technologies are, especially with, yes, there are many industries that are short-term impacted, and that's not lost on me. I live in Hillsboro, Oregon, the Silicon Forest. 8, 9, 10,000 of my friends lost their jobs. So it's not lost on me. But my job is to bring tangible levers for you to have happy endings, not to be, another person saying, woe is me. We got plenty of that in social media as it is. But when you look at in all of those examples today on vertical growth through AI and horizontal growth through I think the hardest part is not just typing the prompt, but the hardest part is really looking in the mirror and allowing yourself to be better than you are. And before you take that as me not fully supporting your superpowers, I'm saying quite the opposite. And by the way, I'm in the same boat, so I'm not being self-righteous. But the hardest part we have in our careers, no matter what country or government system or tax system is, for the most part, there are times when we're taught, hey, that's all you can be. We only have one spot for this. We're not sure you're good enough. We can't afford you. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm here to tell you that the more, and it's okay if it takes a long time, it's a muscle, but the more you neurologically, spiritually, career wise, as a member of your friend group, your family, the more that you allow yourself to say, I'm not defined by what the badge or the job title or my friend group or the system I was born into, depending on where I am in the world, that there's more to my story. I will tell you that emerging technology will very quickly swing in your favor. That's why I get so excited by it. When we talk about the open source era, the open era, the unbranded era, it's that it's no longer trying to fit customers into a mold for a salesperson. Again, salespeople love you. I can please save your hate mail from different podcasts. But it allows you to set the terms and to grow and learn. And if you win, wonderful. If you fail, there's never really failure because you're already neurologically building closer to where you want to be. And I would argue that in itself is a very healthy way to approach your day. Until then, on behalf of the entire Quantapalooza research staff around the entire planet, including seasonally Antarctica, someday I will be coming to you live. I'll find a way. I am Justin Locke, Dr. J. Go forth and put a dent in the universe.